All right, hello everybody, Savannah Dunn here. I'm so excited to bring you the next video in our series of interviewing our vendors. I have Jason Barden here. We go way back, gosh, maybe 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
We have been working together through networking and introducing our spheres to each other and doing business through each other. And I wanted to bring him on because he's just a wealth of information, not only for my clients, but also for myself personally. We do a lot of brainstorming back and forth. So welcome, Jason.
Hey, thank you so much. It's so exciting to be here with you guys.
Yes. So I want to jump in and just kind of go into what you think we should talk about the most today, because your realm is so different than my realm. And I think it's really important that we kind of bring this together. So I want to lead off with, who are you? What are you doing? And why are you here? Why are you here?
Absolutely. So my name's Jason Barden. I'm a regional vice president with Primerica. I got my start back in 2006. So it's been a few years now, depending on when you see this. It's been 14 years, but if you catch this later on down the road, it might be a few more. The reason I came here was to pay cash for college. I was working nights. I was going to college because I wanted to change my life. I thought that was the answer. And then I saw the price tag and realized that I needed a little more money because I didn't really want to take on student loan debt and stuff like that. I got an opportunity to come in and I saw it was financial services. I thought there's no way they'd ever give me a shot, but if they will, at least I can build my resume to go with a master's in business management, which I do not have, but that was my original thought process. I went through training, and what I figured out really quickly is my industry is filled with people who are really new and get trained improperly, or people who have been in the industry long term and sell based on what pays them the most versus what's in their best interest.
I've been victim to that. And that's where we met, because I was sold a product that really didn't fit my family and my lifestyle. And you had an upward battle with me for a while. Like we took a minute for me to really trust you.
We always remember that differently.
But it took me a minute to trust you, I feel, because I had been sold something that wasn't benefiting my family, and I lost trust, which I think a lot of people have that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that is a true statement. We did piece by piece.
Yes,
right?
we did.
I think we made the biggest impact up front. And that's, my family was a victim. We got sold all the stuff that paid the highest commission versus what was in our best interest. And so when I came here, this went from a way to pay cash for college and build my resume. It became my passion project. Teach people what my family didn't know. I did not realize at the time how widespread that issue was. I mean, I met you 10 years after I got in the business, and you had been a victim of the same thing that we had been a victim back in the 70s and 80s.
It's so widespread.
Yeah, and so my passion became a career. Now we have a brick and mortar location as regional vice presidents. We've got agents that work with us that we get to train. And every day we get to make an impact, educating families, serving people, teaching people ultimately how to learn about what the products are really designed for and how to best utilize them.
Especially
versus
which part of your life that you're in as well.
Yeah.
What happens for you when you're 60 versus when you're a young family at 25 is very different with your needs.
Correct. Yep. Things do certainly changed, and I think you'd agree.
Yes.
I'm probably one of the most passionate people.
You are. You're very, very so, which is great because I want to work with other passionate people. I'm very passionate about what I do with real estate, how I can help families, and as I'm working with these families, we come across issues that are outside of my realm of expertise, and that's why I want to bring on team members who have the same reflection as I do, and that's why we work so well together. It's my favorite thing about you is, how long have you been with your company?
So, 06, so we're 14 years as of 2020.
With the same company.
Yeah, never switched.
And there's a way to research that, right?
There is.
We can fact check that.
Yes, you can. Yep.
That's my favorite tool you introduced me to, because so many people, you take what they say at face value, and a lot of times we don't fact check anymore because we want to trust the people. And I've worked with other individuals and find out they've jumped 6 different companies, and that's a struggle. Because is it the company's fault, or like who's got the...
Yeah, so a lot of times what we find is there's improper training, and then people are looking for an easy way. And look, if you are in business for yourself and you are in a sales role, or you are the person who sells for your business, it takes skill.
Yes.
And you have to decide to commit eventually. And when you meet someone who's great, I think that's what you find is they decide to commit to what they're doing and be great at it.
In spite of maybe some obstacles they might, maybe not everything, like I'm here with Keller Williams and I've been with Keller Williams since the start, and maybe there's some things that other companies may offer that Keller Williams may not, but the overall deal, it's a better fit for me the long way. And I don't want to start over somewhere else with new branding and new that. So I'm going to stick it out. And I love that you're kind of on the same track because it's so refreshing to have that. So it's one of my favorite things because I think it's telling.
Hey, just remember, someone might offer you a bigger contract, but if you ain't running no business through it, it doesn't matter anyway.
So tell me some things that we're going to talk about today that I think are really important for...
Yeah, so a couple of concepts that just totally blew me out of the water.
Yes.
When I was brand new, we started teaching some concepts that reminded me of something that I learned back when I was in high school, one of which was the rule of 72.
Okay.
Okay, so if anybody goes out, you want to research and Google rule of 72, okay? What it is the mathematical equation to figure out how fast your money's going to double or how quickly you're going to have to pay back twice as much money as you just borrowed.
Oh, so it works both ways.
It works both ways, okay? There's a reason why products and services are sold the way they are.
Yes.
Okay, so you take 72 divided by the interest rate, and the number you're left over with is how quickly your money will double.
Okay.
So, for example, 3% means that the money doubles every 24 years.
Okay.
Okay. 6% means it doubles every 12 years, and 12% it doubles every 6.
Okay.
So what ends up happening when you look at how the math works out on that, same number, same money, same time, wildly different results though.
Okay. Because of the interest rate?
Correct.
Okay.
Right. Whatever your growth is. So it just depends on what you're getting. For example, it could be real estate.
Right.
Right. Real estate in Texas usually grows at 2 or 3%.
Yes.
It's growing a little faster right now. The faster it grows, the faster your value of your home doubles.
Right.
Right. So it applies to everything.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you buy a car at so much percent, like that's how long it's going to take you to actually really truly pay it back. Is that the other side of it that you're kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely. So if you get a 28% credit card, there's a reason why you never get out of debt making the payments. Yes.
Don't do it. We talked with Luke about that last time. Don't do that.
Don't do that. So that was really impactful. I had forgotten that I had learned that concept because when I was in high school, I was a senior.
Okay.
And one of the things that I do today is I go out. If you're a teacher, feel free to reach out to Savannah, reach out to me. I like to give back because this is something that I received when I was 18. I was part of business education technology kind of umbrella in my school, and they brought a guy like me in who taught the rule of 72. And this is what he told us. And I only remembered about half of it, and I got all the information half right and half wrong. He said, look,
when you're in high school.
Back then, so I graduated in 2000. I just dated myself, so everybody now officially knows how old I am. He said, back then you could put $2,000 into an IRA. And he said, look, if you take $2,000 for the next 7 years, you'll save 14 grand. He goes, if you leave it alone till retirement and come back, you'll have $750,000. Now, I was young, but I was intelligent enough to know that if I give you 14 and you give me back 750, that
it's a good deal.
All day, every day. Let's go. So I graduate high school. I get my graduation money, and I put a new stereo in my car because that stuff's important.
You got to do that. Got to do that.
And then I put $2,000 into my IRA at my credit union, which put me into a money market account. And when I did the math, that didn't quite work out. There are other An IRA is a garage. You can put anything you want inside. Okay. That one they helped me put a money market in, which didn't really work as I thought. I didn't understand that it really does matter what the return is and things like that. So I learned that later on, but then I realized after a couple of years of doing that at my bank that I wasn't getting anywhere. And so I went...
Spinning your wheels.
Yeah. Nobody would talk to me though, because they'd always ask me the question, well, look, we'd love to help you, but how much money you got?
Yeah, they always want to know.
I never had the right number.
Right.
It just
they want the whole book of business coming over.
Well, they want you to have an established book of business.
Sure.
The challenge is when you're 24, how much do you really have?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I came here and realized that there are ways to get access to that and do it appropriately. So that was the first concept that I had already learned and applied. I was just not. I didn't have access to the information or how to apply it and things like that.
Right.
I teach those things in high schools. So if you're a teacher, you're in high school, and you're looking for someone to give some business information, feel free to reach out to me. If it makes sense, I'd love to come out and do for somebody else what someone did for me almost 20 years ago. I think.
Because so many people say that once they graduate high school, graduate college, and get into the real life, they don't even know how to pay bills. They don't know how to budget. They don't. Back then, we were writing checks. That's not really happening anymore. But no one knew how to write a check because they don't teach you those concepts, the real life skill to apply financially. And I think that's the huge disconnection that we have. And there's so many people taking advantage of that market that it causes a lot of distrust. So that's why I really want to kind of take down the walls, and what does that look like when you have a conversation? Because all it is a conversation.
Right. And really, if you sit down with someone and they cannot effectively explain to you what they're trying to help you do with a single page on a yellow pad, it might be too complicated. And they might be getting paid more to overcomplicate it and confuse you. Just throwing that out there. Or they're just new. They're hoping that what they were taught is accurate and correct, and they're giving you the best information they have.
Right.
And if their trainer doesn't have your best interest as a client at heart, well, then they're going to do the best for you that they've been trained, but it might not be the best for you.
Right.
Right.
Right. And that can happen in so many different industries.
Correct.
It really can. So what's the next big concept that really rocked your wall?
Yeah, theory of decreasing responsibility.
Okay.
Okay.
Break that down.
That one is, look, we all start at point A in life.
Right.
We're dependent financially on our job. We don't work, bills don't get paid, kids don't get fed. Right. We all want to get to point B, which is financially independent. That's where the money continues to come in, but work does not have to continue to go out. So you get to stay home and collect.
Right.
Most people think that's called Social Security, but you can actually build a nest egg for yourself and create that income through many different ways.
Right. And it's something you can control. They can't change a law like they do with Social Security sometimes, and now all of a sudden we don't know if we're going to get it or not going to get it. So it's something a little more controlled as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, in order to go from point A to point B, you need a pile of money, and you have to utilize 3 key concepts in order to get yourself there. Okay. Number 1 is time. The earlier we start, the better, right?
Because then that rule of 72 comes back into play.
Yes. Okay. Right? Because when's the best time to plant a tree other than 5 years ago?
Yesterday.
Like right now.
Right now. Put it in the ground.
Just start, okay? Second is how much you can put aside. Okay. Right? Because again, that's part of the equation for Rule of 72.
Yep.
And then third is the Rule of 72. How quickly is your money growing? Okay. Those are the 3 key variables to a tight offensive game plan, getting yourself to financial independence, or as we like to call it, retirement.
Right.
Okay.
And you can't give a one fits all script for that, because depending on your age, how much you spend, there's too many variables.
Correct.
So there's not one answer that's going to fix everybody, and what one person needs for their lifestyle versus another person needs for their lifestyle, very different.
Correct.
So the overall concept is you need to sit down with someone, have this intelligent conversation, and figure out what fits for your goals in the long run.
Right.
Okay.
So the second half of that equation, right? Every great sports team, you got to have a great offense, but you got to have a great what?
Defense.
Amen. Right, and that's what life insurance.
I got it.
She got it right. Sports acronyms. Hey, look, if you knew me well, you'd know that I don't know much about sports either, but I know a few. Okay.
the fundamentals. We all know the fundamentals,
right? And so.
So how do you do defense financially?
Yeah, so defense financially looks like life insurance.
Okay.
See, in the beginning, we don't have a lot of money saved, but we got debt, we got kids at home.
Parents you might be taking care of.
Yeah, you've got all these responsibilities that your income pays for.
Yes.
Right? For example, if you had a toaster in your kitchen that every 2 weeks popped up $2,000 every 2 weeks, would you insure that toaster just in case it broke?
I think I would.
Yeah, of course.
Just in case.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, you are
That's a great toaster.
Yeah. Well, you are the toaster for your family.
That's true.
Every 2 weeks, right? Paychecks come out, right? Depending on how you get paid and all that stuff.
Right.
Well, life insurance does exactly that.
Okay.
See, for example, with you and your husband, you guys have a budget.
Right.
Right? You have bills that have to get paid, and you have income coming in.
Yes.
If somebody passes away early, that income disappears.
It does.
But do they cut the bills in half?
No.
No, they still want all their money.
And then I probably have extra bills I got to come up with now last minute. Yeah.
Yeah, so life insurance helps hold up the other side of the financial house.
Okay.
While the family that's left behind gets a chance to figure it all out.
Right.
Right.
But so many people think, no, that will never happen to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. Look, I'm going to live to 150. I'm just saying it right now, baby. Oldest man ever.
Right.
But what if?
What if?
What if, right?
And I don't want to lose sleep over it. I want to have, that's why we work together. So I wanted to get something in place that I don't have to lose sleep over, and I know if something happens. I do that with my car insurance. I once upon a time lived a life of a paralegal, and we worked for personal injury attorneys.
Right.
Our meat and potatoes were car accidents. Nobody ever thinks they're going to get a car accident. And they always say, what, the first 25 miles of your radius is where you're most likely to get in a car accident, because that's where you frequent the most. And we'd have regular, wonderful people come in that didn't have enough coverage, and they get catastrophically injured, but not enough to death. And so they had no benefit. They were stuck, and they never spent enough on their car insurance. And I lived that lesson and realized I want to have so much insurance on my car. My insurance guy thinks I'm crazy, but I know if anybody hits me for any reason, or if I hit somebody for any reason, I don't have to worry about bills. I know I can go take care of my family, and the rest will be taken care of because I invest in that. And I think the same concept should go and apply to life insurance.
Correct. Now, with that being said, though, there's a right way and there's a wrong way to do
Yes.
that. Okay, so as we move through life, debts get paid off, kids grow up, right? They boomerang back every once in a while, but eventually they stay out for good, okay? You get some money saved. The industry would love you to believe that life insurance is designed for your whole life. If you want to have access to it for your whole life, that's fine, but it should not be necessary.
Right.
See, if you're financially independent, you have a pile of money that generates income for you and your family every year without you having to go to work. Why do you need life insurance to hold up the pillar if you're not there to go earn it? You are no longer earning it anyway.
Right.
Life insurance is designed to be temporary. The industry tried to change that. A lot of agents go, well, yeah, but you should have access to it, which there are ways to do that. They just typically sell a product that combines a couple of things in between. They go, well, with this one, you can save for retirement and you can get life insurance. My family had it for 30 years, and when I came here and learned how that stuff really worked, we didn't have it no more. And when you talk to agents, they rarely ever own it on themselves unless they're brand new and their trainer sold it to them.
Right.
They never keep it because it's such an inefficient product, and life insurance is designed to be temporary. Every business should have a plan to sell, just like every life should have a plan to become financially independent, because then you don't need it anymore and you can get rid of that bill. See, if you think that you have to keep it for the rest of your life, who wins? The life insurance
company does. Yeah.
There's a reason why life insurance companies have the biggest buildings in every major metropolitan areas.
Yes.
Right? So we teach people how to make temporary life insurance temporary and how to replace your need for it, but give you access to it so that you can keep what you want for the time you need it, all the way up until actually age 100.
Perfect. So how do you pick how much coverage you should have? Can you answer that, or can you give us an idea of what that? Because when I worked at my law office, my boss always said you want at least 4 times your income. That way, if you're getting X amount %, then it's going to come back. He had this whole algorithm for it. I love him to death. Hi, Noble. Hi. He was the first one that really introduced me into the policies, and I think a lot of people just go, I just need enough to pay off my house, and I'm good. Is there both ways? What does that look like?
So it usually looks like 10 to 12 times annual earnings.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the easy math, but then everybody's like, well, that sounds like a one thing fits all, and I only need my house paid off, so how do I figure that out? There's a concept called D.I.M.E, D-I-M-E, like the dime, 10 cents in your pocket. So let me drop a dime on you real quick, okay? D stands for debts. So credit cards and student loans that other people have signed on.
Medical bills?
Nah.
No. Okay.
No, I wouldn't worry about those.
Okay.
So I would tell you your debts, car loans, all that stuff, and then any student loans that somebody else has co-signed on.
Okay.
Okay. The second one is income.
Okay.
Right. So how much of your income still needs to come into the house, because it doesn't matter that you're not there, so we don't have to feed and clothe you anymore, but there are still things that have to get taken care of. So how much of your income still needs to come into the house so that the family doesn't skip a beat financially, and the cars don't start getting repoed, the house doesn't get foreclosed, things like that.
Yes.
Okay, how much income needs to come in?
Okay.
The M stands for mortgage. So how much do you owe on your mortgage?
Right.
And there's ways to set that up so you're not overpaying on that.
Okay.
The typical mortgage protection, a lot of people know it as mortgage protection. That is one way to sell it. What we have found is a more cost-effective way for the client to get a bigger bang for their buck. They get, their family gets, if you need to exercise that for the money you're spending for the protection, what your family gets in return, we find that there are better ways to structure it than the quote-unquote mortgage protection.
Okay.
We do it through term life, so we still keep it very affordable, but we're able to bring down your overall cost.
Okay.
And then the last one is education. And that education would be if you have younger kids and you want to make sure they can go to college.
Okay.
And then whatever those numbers are, you factor those out, and then you come up and then you have a number.
Gotcha.
Right? And it's pretty easy. And on income, we typically want to replace the income that needs to continue coming in after all the debts are paid off. We want to multiply that by a factor of 10.
Okay.
That way, that particular income is replaced for 10 years.
Okay.
Because it gives the other spouse enough time maybe to go back to get a certification, a promotion, a job change, increase their income, decrease their expenses before the money runs out.
Perfect. That's a really great rule of thumb. And it's still something that you can then customize to yourself as well. I love that. Okay. So what type of timelines are there? Because like when we got our insurance, we weren't ready to do the full long-term deal.
Right.
We did a short-term thing.
Right.
It's not going to hurt us to then turn that into a long-term product, because when we first met, we were at a certain place financially that it didn't make sense for us. But now we can actually convert what we originally had, right?
Yes,
and turn that into something larger, which is great for us. So you can build it and customize it as you want and go from there.
As long as your health and your habits don't change.
Yes, which is always the thing that can change. I mean, you can get that car accident. Something can happen.
Absolutely.
What are some things that someone needs to do to prepare prior to meeting with someone like yourself?
You know, if you're meeting with a professional that has been doing it for a while, they'll help you walk through all of it. It's very simple. It typically takes 5 or 10 minutes to ask some questions, answer some questions, and then find a ballpark to work with it. Okay? If somebody ever sits down with you and goes, "So, you want some life insurance? What's affordable?" If that's their first question,
what kind of payments do you want to make? Like you're buying a car.
If it feels like you're buying a car, you're probably not sitting down with the person you want to talk to, okay? Ultimately, their job is to help you find the amount you need for the time that you need it and figure out what makes the most sense for you so that you can keep it. Because look, if you get something but you can't keep it, then you've wasted all of your money.
Right.
And although...
I've done that.
Right? We don't know when we're going to die, but what I do know is none of us are making it out of your life.
Right. That's
and if
true.
you don't have something in place, a big pile of money or life insurance, your family's going to go to GoFundMe. Go to your city and search GoFundMes for funerals.
It's so sad.
It is. It's sad. And there's never enough. Maybe they make enough to pay for funerals, but then what? How does everything else get paid? They're not doing a GoFundMe so you can keep cable.
No.
And your cable company's not calling you to tell you, "We'd like to pay your mortgage for you." Right? So,
and GoFundMe takes a nice chunk out of that too.
They do.
So it's still not even free money. What's a turnaround time if someone does pass away unexpectedly and they need to get their check? What does that look like?
Yeah, so typically what we see is somewhere between 14 days and beyond. So the reason it takes 14 days is all death claims are run through your local states for back child support. Not for the person who passes away, but for the beneficiary.
Okay.
And so governments never do anything quickly. We used to be able to get death claims out a little faster, and that is industry-wide. So it doesn't matter what company you have business with. If you have somebody that is a beneficiary that you know has back child support for whatever reason, you might want to pick a different beneficiary or get more life insurance because their back child support's getting paid before they do.
Beforehand, they're taking that out of there.
Which I think is really great. I'm a product of a single mom, and my dad never was behind, always took care of it, went over and above, did all that stuff. And I know people fall on hard times. I know things happen. This is a way to help catch all of that up.
Yeah, right? Which is, I mean, and that's how it should probably be done, especially if there's money available now. All of a sudden money's available. We got to make sure we bring all the bills up to par. So something that's kind of an interesting thing right now, I don't want to date this video, but right now what we're having a huge issue with is coronavirus.
Yes.
And testing. A lot of times people are getting tested for coronavirus when it's probably not a beneficial thing at that point because they've already got it, they've been sick for several days, and then they get tested because they want to know whether or not they had it. What kind of impact does that potentially have for life insurance?
Well, I can tell you that if you test positive, even if you don't feel any symptoms, if you don't have life insurance, you're going to get automatically declined for at least 90 days. And so it's better to have life insurance 10 years too early than 1 day too late.
Right.
Because you have to get approved for it. It's not just something where you can go and sign up, and then it's a responsibility product. It's a responsibility product that most people need someone to coach, assist, and shepherd through the process. If not, it'd be on Walmart shelves.
Right.
One of the questions you're always going to have to answer is, is there any medical testing that you have been told to get that you have not yet been that has not yet been completed, or results that have not yet been reported? You have to disclose that. So if you're sick, if you know you feel terrible, it's not, well, nobody's told me yet, so I can just go do. It doesn't quite work like that. Okay, you need, while your life insurance, from a cost standpoint, it's based on 2 factors, right? Our age and our health. Last time I checked, we typically don't get healthier and we don't get younger, right? No Benjamin Button going on here, okay? So with that being said, getting it sooner versus later is always going to cost you less, and it's always going to be easier to get. And then you want to make sure that you have something that you can actually keep, because the wrong policy type will end up in the trash can, and you'll spend all the money, and when you know your family needs it the most, you won't be able to keep it, and you want to be able to avoid that.
Yes. So what are some questions people need to ask if they're not working? Let's say they don't work with you specifically and they're going to go talk to someone else. What are some questions they should ask to really know whether they're working with a professional or not working with a professional?
Well, so I think there are lots of different levels of professionals. Okay. So here's what I always tell all of my clients to look out for. Anyone who tells you you're going to get some money back, anybody who tells you that you're going to get a tax-free loan, anyone tells you that it's anything other than pure life insurance, I would recommend you find somebody else. If that's the first thing out of their mouth, or you've been a great client, all of a sudden they're trying to get you to pay a whole lot more for the same amount of coverage, that should be a red flag, and you should get another. There's a reason why consumer advocates like Dave Ramsey tell you to buy term life insurance, okay? And there's a reason why life insurance agents like to try and bicker back and forth with him. It's because he's right, and he threatens the way they make the majority of their income. Right. So,
which this video is going to make some people a little uncomfortable.
Oh, I got some friends out there. I love you guys too. I love you.
But we want to show both sides of everything and explain, especially because we both fallen victim to this.
So I've looked at a lot of contracts. So there's a lot of concepts that get sold on yellow pads across the kitchen table with clients, right? I've not seen contracts that match all these fancy presentations. That's the biggest deal. So my comment to that is always,
okay, let me see the contract.
Let me see the contract. I don't want to see your sales material. I don't want to see what they gave you when you first signed up. No, I want to see the actual documents with all of the legal verbiage, because that was where we found the details in my family, and what we got told and what our contract said did not match up. Now, maybe we didn't understand, and we thought it was better than the agent told us, but it wasn't that good. So we want to make sure that what we're getting is accurate, that it matches, and then it's a legal binding contract, and as a client, you signed it. So if at any point you feel like you were wronged, here's what the judge is going to say. Well, this is your signature, right? Well, didn't you read it first? My mom always told me, never sign anything before you read it. You go to closing tables all the time. How many times they just like, what page? No, because most of it's legal jargon. But there are 2 or 3 pages that are very important in all legal documents. Life insurance is no different. You want to make sure that you understand how the important ones work.
Well, and we're talking about life insurance in a certain vehicle. We're talking about if you die and what's going to happen.
Well, not all term is great either. It's all you need to understand how all policies work, because the small print and commas and periods, all that, it can completely change what we think it means and what it really means. And so you need someone who is an advocate that will teach you how to do that.
Love it. Love it. Any other comments that we need to go over that we haven't talked about?
So this is my passion that has nothing to do with my business. Okay. We're in sales. Okay. And sales is no different than every professional sport or professional music artist, anything like that. There's talent, right? We pay to see talent in action. And on a scale of 1 to 10, 8s, 9s, 10s sell out amphitheaters. If you're a singer and you're a 7, you're the best at church choir, you're doing karaoke night and everybody's clapping for you, but nobody's signing you a record deal.
When you go onto the stage for the auditions, it doesn't work out so well.
Sorry, you missed that pitch. Okay. 8s at 8 gets you a ticket to the show. Okay. When it comes to a talent, a natural talent like that, you can grow by an octave of 4.
Okay.
So if you are 5 away from an 8, you're always going to be in the church choir, but you're never going to sell 1 million records. You're never going to sell out a stadium. You'll never make the millions of dollars, the billions of dollars that we pay to see talent. Okay. In sales, in business, 8s, 9s, and 10s do make the most. They get paid the big money.
Right.
The difference is that all numbers are learnable. You are not capped. You can go from a 1 to a 10 if you choose to. If you control who rents space in your mind, you control how much effort you put in, you do the right things with the right people long enough, you'll always win. You will always overestimate, you will always overestimate what you can do in a year. And most of the time you will underestimate what you can get done in a decade. So make sure you don't quit early. Make sure that you decide to plant your flag, dig in, draw your line in the sand, because you never know. In 10 years, 10 years or less, you could be living the dream life that you always dreamed about. That dream was put in your heart. It was a little tiny mustard seed. It was put there for a reason. Make sure you're watering it. Make sure you're giving it some sunlight, treating it well, and grow that thing into the oak tree that it really could be, because you could change not only your life, but you could change the world.
Love it. Love it. I'm so glad you sat with me today.
It's so much fun. I love it.
If you have any questions, comments, leave those down below. We will put Jason's contact information there so you can reach out to him if you have any questions, and give us feedback. If there's more people you're looking for me to interview, we are always looking for suggestions, and I'm so grateful you were here, and I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take care, guys.
Bye.